Back in my old neighborhood in South Philly, there was this little corner diner called Leroy's Spot, not fancy or anything. Just a place where folks gathered for coffee, greasy eggs, and those endless debates about who was the real king of the ring, Ollie or Frazier, and that's where I spent most mornings, nursing a black coffee, shooting the breeze with the regulars. But one day, this crew rolls in, led by this slick-talking guy named Vince, all tattoos and attitude, thinking they own the block because they've been shaking down businesses for protection fees, all tied up in some shady land grab scheme where they wanted to push out the old-timers to flip the area for condos. Yeah, it was personal for them. Vince had lost his job at the mill and blamed the community for not backing his family's old claims on the land, turning his grudge into this power play. They barge in, smirking, Vince leaning on the counter like he's the landlord, saying, "Nice joint, Leroy, be a shame if it got remodeled without your say-so," his voice dripping with that fake concern, while his buddies Rico and Tate chuckle, eyeing me like I'm just some overweight has-been in the corner booth. Man, I felt that knot in my gut tighten. I'm Marcus. Used to be a pro MMA fighter back in the day, retired after one too many concussions, but I'd poured my life into those cages, learning to read a room, spot weakness, and sitting there. I could see how this wasn't just about money. It was Vince trying to reclaim some lost pride by bullying folks who'd never done him wrong. Maybe stemming from his dad getting evicted years ago from a spot nearby, fueling this cycle of resentment. They start poking at me, Rico snickering. "Look at this big fella, probably couldn't lift a fork without huffing." And Vince chimes in, all cocky, "Yeah, Tubby, stay out of it unless you want to be the next remodel." Their laughs echoing like they already won, but inside, I'm boiling, not just for me, but for Leroy, who's been like a brother, keeping this diner as a hub for the neighborhood kids and elders. A place where problems got solved over pie, not fists. I tried to keep it cool at first, sipping my coffee, saying, "Respect goes both ways. Fellas, walk out now. No hard feelings." But Vince just grins wider, pulling out a crumpled flyer for their so-called security service, shoving it in Leroy's face. "Pay up, or things get unpredictable," his tone shifting to that venomous edge, like he's itching for a spark. That's when they cross the line, Rico grabbing his stool like he's gonna swing it, and Vince stepping closer, whispering threats about torching the place if we don't fold. My heart races, flashbacks to the octagon hitting me, that rush of adrenaline where fear turns to focus, and before I know it, I'm up, grabbing Vince's collar in a blur, yanking him off balance, my fist connecting with his jaw in a clean hook that sends him crashing into a table. The crash like thunder in the quiet diner. Chaos erupts. Rico lunges, wild and sloppy, but I sidestep, planting an elbow to his gut that folds him like cheap paper. Tate hesitating, but then charging with a knife he pulls from his boot, screaming, "You're done, fat man." But I twist his wrist, the blade clattering away, following with a knee that drops him gasping. They scramble out, battered, Vince spitting blood and yelling, "This ain't over, we'll burn you out," as they limp away, the diners staring in awe, Leroy whispering, "Marcus, what the hell? You're a beast." But deep down, I know this stirred a hornet's nest, their egos bruised worse than their bodies, tied to that deeper beef over the land, making them desperate to reclaim face. Days pass, tension building like a storm, shadowy figures tailing me on my walks. Graffiti on the diner's wall sing, "You're next." A note slipped under the door promising payback. It eats at me. Not fear exactly, but this weight of protecting what matters, the community that's been my anchor since retiring, where I'd found peace away from the spotlight. Vince's crew wasn't just thugs. They were locals gone sour, Vince driven by that old family grudge, seeing us as obstacles to his twisted version of justice. So I decide, enough hiding. I call up my old fight crew. Jax, a burly wrestler with a heart of gold. Ty, quick as lightning. Vic, the strategist. And Malik, the grappler who'd save my ass in more than one scrap. We planned out, spread word I'd be closing up alone one night, baiting them with Vince's pride, knowing he'd bite, thinking numbers would win. Sure enough, they show Vince with a bigger pack, 10 deep, armed with bats and chains, bursting in, Vince sneering, "Time to pay. Marcus will make an example of you." His eyes wild with that mix of rage and desperation, like this fight was his redemption. But as they circle, I hit my phone, my boys storm in from the shadows, Jack's bellowing. Not tonight, punks. And it's on, fists flying, me dodging Vince's wild swings, countering with hooks that crack ribs, Ty weaving through like a ghost, dropping two with precise kicks. The diner turning into a whirlwind of grunts and crashes, chairs splintering. But our training shines, turning their chaos against them. We wear him down, Jack's pinning one against the wall, growling, "Stay down, kid." Ty flipping another over a table, me finally locking Vince in a hold, his knife skittering away as he gasps, You think you're a hero?" And I whisper back, "Nah, just a guy who cares." Before the cops' sirens wail, busting in, cuffing the lot. Turns out they'd been watching Vince's crew for months on extortion raps tied to that land scheme, but needed this blow-up to nail him. The neighborhood rallies the next day, folks bringing hammers and paint, rebuilding Leroy's spot stronger, kids drawing murals, elders sharing stories. It hits me then. This wasn't about my past glory. It was about standing together, breaking that cycle of grudge and greed. But here's the thing that sticks with me: was I right to bait them, turning the diner into a battlefield? Or should I have let the law handle it slow? Could have gone south, someone hurt bad. What do you think? Drop a comment below. Ever dealt with bullies like that in your hood? Share your take on justice, community beefs, or if fighting fire with fire really works. Hit like if this resonated, subscribe for more real talk stories, and let's chat it out. Peace.